Welcome to the COM 3060 Graphics and Animation tutorial series. This is Unit 1, Lightwave Modeler Interface. As you know, these tutorials are supposed to be short and sweet, and they're supposed to be topic specific, so therefore if you feel that you understand this topic, you don't have to waste your time watching this again, or if you want to come back and refresh your memory, that's certainly quite welcome. Okay, this first one is going to be about the actual Lightwave Modeler Interface, the very basics of it and how it works, and what you're going to see when you run the program. This is what you're going to see when you run the Lightwave Modeler program. Basically, the screen is broken up into 4 quadrants. The first 3, upper left, lower right, are basically set up to show you 2-dimensional views of various perspectives. The first one is called top. This is looking down on your work from above. This is like you're on the ceiling looking down at your workbench. Down here you've got back, which really looks towards the back of the room, so you're seeing the front of your object. You're going to spend a lot of time looking at this one. The left works basically the same as a right would be. You're looking at the side of the object. Now you'll notice that if you pull the menu down, you can change this. You can look at each of these quadrants any way you want. You can duplicate them. You can look at left or right, for example. And honestly, in all the time I've worked with this program, I rarely ever do that. I basically just leave these alone most of the time because usually this is a pretty good configuration. Now this is the one that's the most interesting. This is your perspective view. Okay, your perspective view allows you to see the actual finished product that you're building. Okay, so to make sure that we understand how that works, the first thing we're going to do is make something to look at. So I'm going to go into the Create tab here, and I'm going to click on Box. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the workbench itself, and I'm going to left-click and draw a box. Now in this particular case, I haven't really drawn a complete box. I've only drawn 2 dimensions of it. So I'm looking at this from above. I can have a narrow box, I can have a short box, a long box. But notice that if you're down here looking towards the back of it, you don't see anything. You see a flat line. So in reality, that's nothing. That's literally nothing. It's a razor thin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the corner here of the handle, and I'm going to give that some depth. So now you'll see that woke up this one, because now suddenly looking at the side, we can see that this has basically, I guess that would be width and height. Over here we have length and height, and here we have length and depth. But over here in perspective, we get something else. Now this is what I want to talk about next. If you look at the window here, it doesn't look all that much different when you first turn it on. But if you look up here, you got these 3 buttons. These are very critical. Now if you go, well, first of all, notice how I'm still got my box on there. That's very dangerous, because if I start working, I'm going to accidentally draw another box. So with all of these tools, an important thing to remember, you got to turn them off when you're done with them. So right now, box is turned on. So whatever I do, I'm drawing a box. So I'm going to click on that again, turn box off. Now I'm free. I'm not drawing boxes anymore. Okay, so if I'm looking over here, perspective window, I've got these 3 buttons. I'm going to start with the one in the middle. If I hold the mouse over that, you see that turns to an arrow. If I click on that and drag, you see I can get this box. I can see the perspective of it. Now here's the thing. It only works when you're pointing at that. If you try to go anywhere else here, it does nothing. Well, it does something, but we'll get in that in a minute. If I'm holding the mouse over this, I can move the perspective. That's the only way I can do it. Now if I go to this next one over here, the one on the left, this allows me to scoot it in different directions. This one here allows me to magnify in, magnify out. Essentially that's what you're going to do when you look at these things, but you don't want to rely too heavily on this. Now for example, let's say I'm over here on the top and I click one of these points, because I'm in point mode. I'm going to click a point, and there it is. Now it looks like I've only selected one point here, but that's because I can only see from above. If I look at this one, I can see that that's the point I thought I was selecting, but I've also selected this one. You can also see that over here. You can see that here as well. So I'm going to deselect the one on the bottom. I only want the one on the top, and I want to move that. Now you'll notice only one point is glowing over here. Now, if I go to Modify, and I go to Move, if I'm looking at it from above, I can move that in 2 of those dimensions, not all 3. Now, if I'm down here, I can move that in another dimension. So that's what you can do with these things. It gives you a certain amount of control. Now, if you try to do it here, it may seem like a better idea. It may seem like you're getting a better view. I'm going to warn you in advance, this is a real trap, because you can create so many optical illusions that you're going to go nuts. Like, for example, if I go here, how would I move that forward? Right now I'm moving it left and right. So I'd have to move it down here like that to move it forward, let's say. And even then, it becomes a real mess. It's a whole lot more accurate to control it here, and that way you can see exactly what you're doing. Okay, so that's the basic interface, and we'll talk about more shortly.